Okay.
All right, so I guess we'll start this
All right,
unofficial meeting.
so we can, I guess, do we want to go through the things in the order, but without Art? I guess I was thinking maybe things that Mark, specific to you, or specific to you, Andrew.
Yeah, whatever you,
So I guess,
feel like is fine with me. I can give you an
Okay.
update on the items that I have kind of under my name.
Why don't we do it that
Sure.
way? What do you have first?
So let me see. Looks like the first thing on the agenda here is question regarding the upgrades at Coal Rush Park.
Okay.
okay,
So my understanding is there is a zip line going in, which is going to be a, two-station zip line. One of those will be fully ADA compliant with, the required surfacing for approach.
mhm,
And then a chair that can be utilized if needed. The other zip line will be one that you simply hang from your hands. Playground equipment's supposed to be getting the needed surfacing material for approach, so somebody can use it and at least get to the equipment. And I believe that's the existing equipment and new. There's a pavilion building going in that will have two picnic tables. One of those will be ADA compliant, with the designated spots on it, and I think a shorter bench on one side. So that's where Coal Rush currently kind of stands. I believe that work's going to be taking place in the spring.
So last
the
time we
spring is
talked,
on.
which was December, I think it's the word that we had was that it was out for bid. So it
Yeah.
sounds like that maybe been accepted, and
Yeah, I
there's a
believe the bids
plan
came
now?
back. A contract's been awarded, but of course, they won't start that work until weather permitting. Especially the surfacing material. I know it's restricted by the temperature.
Sure.
Mhm,
Is
sure.
there a way to get a look at the plan or the design?
Yeah, I can certainly get that and forward it via email to everybody.
Sure, could you do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm just taking I'm gonna take the notes. So we'll have them for the next meeting. So if you hear me typing, I apologize. All
That's
right?
fine. That's good. And we'll have the video as well.
Mm-hmm.
You want me to move on to the next item? Parking at
Yes,
senior
please.
center and library?
Yep.
So my understanding is, and I did see the signage go up at the senior center and what was needed at the library. The striping is still very faded. That work won't occur until the springtime again, temperature permitting to do the paint. There has been some turnover at the DPW with the highway superintendent. Ed Tierney retired. There was another replacement that took his position, and I think he stepped down. And there is another gentleman who is the acting right now. I'm not sure. He'll remain permanently in the position, but kind of have it on the radar that they're aware of it too. I spoke with Fred Russell, the DPW superintendent, that once weather permitting, they go out, I guess, and restripe a lot of stuff. So they'll put those on the list. We
So
had
there's not like a target. Is it like, they're targeting March, they're targeting June? Like what do you think?
I would think probably April,
Okay.
sometime in April. Now, I know we had a discussion about the need for the symbol on the ground or not. The hash marks definitely need to be redone. The accessible aisles and the spaces themselves, and I do believe they have the template, the accessibility to go down on the ground. If probably just tell them if you have it, do it.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Excellent. Yeah, thanks.
Then the next one I have here is gazebo status. I think we talked about it last time, that there's still kind of a split in direction on where they want to go. I haven't had any time to kind of update the design. The latest and greatest was doing a sloped sidewalk wouldn't require any handrails or anything. You know, that was the direction of the Board of Selectmen to lower it approximately 30 inches and then look at doing a slope sidewalk, which would be fairly long, and kind of have to study that, what effect it'll have on the common.
So
But
nothing new.
nothing new on that.
Okay.
I've been kind of took that on as a pet project as a volunteer, and just haven't had the time outside of work to get back to it.
Is there any kind of meeting or discussion scheduled for like when they might sort of try to get on the same page?
No, I mean, I'm sure at some point the selectmen are going to ask for an update on it. And I am, going to try and get something done prior to them asking, but no guarantees on it.
Mhm.
The next thing is the Kennedy Meadows Assisted Living. I did have, in the parking concerns out there. The parking is compliant with the minimum requirement under the Architectural Access Board, but I know there seems to be more of a need. And the suggestion I had with Art was, well, one, if the board's not aware, the town manager Clancy recently appointed me as the kind of ADA coordinator for the town. So
Oh,
Congratulations.
congratulations.
thank you. So utilizing that position, my thoughts and talking with Art is to have the commission take a vote to instruct me to send a letter to Kennedy Meadows asking kind of for voluntary compliance, and see where we get from that. Unfortunately, you don't have the members tonight.
Yeah, but we could do
But
that
I would
next time.
imagine,
That's fine.
I can put something together because I don't think you guys are going to vote otherwise. I
No.
think it's going to be a unanimous vote that that's how we want to proceed. And that's just my assumption, but I'm going to put something together and then I'll just hold off until we can make it official.
Okay.
Okay, that sounds good.
So then,
Would it just come from this commission, or, is it the people who live there have any kind of say?
I mean, none of them have reached out to me. So there's two different things. If there is somebody there that makes a request and needs an accommodation, they have to do it. So if they have enough residents there that are more than the number of required parking, which remember, the required parking is minimal, and it's
Right.
really not based on that type of use. It's kind of a blanket thing for everything. They just say number of parking spaces, this is what's required. And most of the time, uses will take into account what's actually happening in the building. And, like a hospital will have more than what's required. I don't see why
Right.
Kennedy Meadows wouldn't do the same thing. And if they have, I mean, if anybody's reaching out to the commission directly, as a resident from there, all they need to do is make a formal request, and, they're obligated to make an accommodation. So my thoughts were,
question is,
go ahead.
who
I'm
is
sorry.
making this request? Who is making this request? This is what I don't understand. Who's making it? The people
I
who
don't
go
know.
visit? That's what I don't understand. And why would that have anything to do with us? Wouldn't that just have to do with the facility?
Yeah, I don't know where it came from. I got it
Yeah,
from
it's
the commission.
been long enough. I don't remember. I can go back in the notes
I
and
don't
probably
either.
look. Well, so I think it got pointed out, and I remember going over and taking a look and seeing that people were parking in the hash spaces that are meant to be for people getting in and out of their vehicles, and just people with handicap plates parking in areas that were not, handicap spaces or not close to the building. And so there's just, I think, from our point of view, it's not enough for the folks who live there. And so just as part of the commission, I think, Mark, what you're suggesting is we just write a letter and ask if they're willing to create more spaces to accommodate. But it would be voluntary, right?
Right. So I would, I'll leave the date blank, but just let them know that, it's, the commission had a vote on such and such a date. Asked me as the ADA coordinator to reach out to you as a property owner to get better, ratio of parking based on observations and the needs of the residents and see where that goes.
Does that make sense, Maria?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sure. Like I said, it just seems like it should be their issue, not ours.
Well, I don't think we're kind of making it. I don't even want to say we're making it our issue. I think we're making the observation and we're making a suggestion, or we're
We're
asking.
here really to advocate.
Yeah.
Right, no, that's what I'm saying. I just, right, no, I'm not saying anything. I was just curious to know that. I mean,
Yeah, I think
That's
it's
all.
really just based on people's observations of
yeah,
when you have to remember when this was originally pitched, what they told the town was the residents won't have vehicles and they, really don't
They
need any
clearly do.
parking. And that's not the way it's being utilized.
Yeah, it didn't work out that way.
And if you have limited parking, handicap parking, and you have a greater number of residents, they're always going to compete.
Yeah.
And want, that parking spot. So I don't see why the commission can't advocate or the town can't advocate for just based
No, I
on.
think we should.
observations.
oh,
They
we
can
should.
flat
I
out
don't,
refuse it. And then
Yeah.
if we do hear something from a resident, then,
Finally back.
Welcome back, sir.
welcome back.
Yes, no, the damn machine decided that it was going to totally reboot and wipe out everything on the machine. So I had to take and set it up from scratch, including
God.
copying and pasting all my passwords.
Ouch.
Well, let me catch you up real quick. So we kind of started talking. Andrew gave us a little bit of the on the action item about the COA and the LRTA. So I can kind of cover that with you later. Maria and I both have some notes there.
Right.
I didn't record that part. We are recording now, and then Mark was taking us through a few of his items. So far, we've talked about Culross Park. We've talked about the senior center and the library parking, the gazebo status, and we are just about wrapping up the Kennedy Meadows conversation.
Okay. If you've got notes on that you can run me through later, that would be good.
Yeah, sure.
Let me get
I
down.
do. I took notes. Yep. I
Yeah.
have notes.
Okay.
So the real quick of it, Art, is all the equipment and then improvements at Coal Rush are going to be ADA compliant.
Okay.
I am going to get some design plans. It has gone out to bid. I believe the contract's been awarded. Should start in the spring, weather permitting. But I'm going to get whatever design plans they have, and I'll share them with you, and you can distribute them for the group.
Okay.
I do know there's also, major work going down at the Ditson School, the old Ditson, kind of a rehab. I know that all that work will also be compliant, ADA compliant, for walking paths, slopes, whatever equipment they put in will also have a accessible component to it. Once I see that, we can also share that with the commission.
Okay.
That was Coal Rush. The parking at the senior center and the library. I've been in touch with the DPW superintendent and the highway superintendent who has retired, had a replacement who stepped down. There's another gentleman who's acting on it right now. I don't know if he'll be permanent, but what I've been told is it's on the list for kind of the yearly striping when they go out when the weather's better and redo crosswalks. And I know we had a discussion on the symbol of accessibility on the ground and whether it's needed or not needed. We found out it's not required, but I believe the DPW has a template anyways. So there's no harm in, might as well just put it back on the ground.
That's kind of what I figure. It's like if you're, as long as you're there, you can still get your can of spray paint. Go ahead and go for it.
Right.
But,
gazebo status is really no update. That's really in my court. The latest and greatest is looking at lowering the gazebo, bringing in some fill to create a slope sidewalk to get you up to the gazebo platform that the slope wouldn't require handrails or guardrails because it would be a 1 in 20. So you got to kind of take out and look at how that lays out on the common, how much dirt you need to bring in, how many cubic yards, and, you know, what it does to the oil. I'm just nervous to do anything on the common.
Right.
Because there's always somebody that's not happy, but that's kind of where that sits.
Okay.
The Kennedy Meadows, like we discussed earlier, the direction I think we go in is when you have a quorum, I'm going to draft a letter as the ADA coordinator for the town and let them know that the commission, you know, instructed me to look into the parking and see if we can get Kennedy Meadows to voluntarily increase their accessible parking. Short of that, it would take really a complaint or inquiry from a resident, because then they're forced to make an accommodation for a resident.
Okay.
And the O'Connor's Town Plaza, one of my inspectors has been reviewing O'Connor's. There's been different, a few new businesses going in. They do have compliant parking. However, it's, you know, depending on where you want to go, you want it closest to that, and everybody has kind of a different, you know.
Yeah.
I'd rather have it out in front of a pizza shop. I'd rather have it out in front of O'Connor's. I'd rather have it out in front of. So that's kind of a work in progress. There's really not much we can do to force O'Connor's to add more.
Right. I'll put it this way. I've not been unhappy with what they've had in the O'Connor's Plaza itself, but basically the only place I go there is O'Connor's. So,
Yeah.
But, you know, it seemed like they were trying to do a decent job there. The big problem was more the town center businesses, Manja and
Yep. So
that
that's a separate issue. I've confirmed Manja BATV and the Center Cafe is under a new owner, who's local. Manja is, you know, as everyone knows, going through a rehab from the recent fire. Center Cafe has remained open. They're actively looking for a tenant for the old BATV space, which I understand Winchester Hospital or one of their affiliates was kind of looking at it. So between Manja and the BATV space, I think that's the opportunity to address the parking on that property.
Right.
We discussed there's two spaces directly behind the Center Cafe that are just probably the most closest location, but they're not really utilized well. They're not marked. So that's the issue with the Manja property. Out
Right.
in front of like Liberty Bell and the rest of it is controlled by the town.
Right.
So that would be, my suggestion would be do the same thing that we're taking the approach with Kennedy Meadows is, you know, the commission can write something directly to the Board of Selectmen as the road commissioners, and I can also present it to them as the ADA coordinator that, you know, they really should designate at least one space out in front. You know, they're probably going to put some pushback on parking, but I mean, it is what it is. You need to make an accommodation, and
Yeah.
I don't know who pulled that up, but that's great kind of
I mean,
visual.
if
I did. I grabbed this off Google. I assume it's pretty accurate.
Yeah,
It
so-
just, as we're talking, I was just trying to, that might be helpful to point to.
Yeah. So you do have two spaces in the back, if you can see the symbol on the ground, but they're not compliant because they don't have a sign.
Right.
So, sorry, Mark, where are you talking about?
If you look, see where the white cars and the building comes up at an angle.
Talking about this one here?
Yep, right next to it, there's a symbol on
These
the
two.
ground there and a symbol
Oh,
there.
yeah, this is the symbol.
But I mean, they're not compliant, they're not enforceable, and they don't have the access aisle or anything. So we can address
Right.
this back parking lot with the property owner, but I think more so out in front along Boston Road where you have kind of the angled parking there. We should
Yep.
find a location to add, you know, a space and an access aisle and petition the Board of Selectmen to, you know, make it happen.
What I was looking at, and that's not optimal, but if you take and kind of write down, almost falling off the bottom of your picture, there's like one or two parallel spaces.
Yep, in front of the Center Cafe.
Right.
These here
And-
are?
Yeah. And
Okay.
making those accessible seems like the best way, because parallel parking or the angle parking is kind of a problem if you're in a van, because depending on which side of the access aisle you've got, you may have to back in, which is really difficult on that configuration. Whereas with a parallel parking, the worst case is you're having to get out on the traffic side, but that's still, people at least can see you've got your door open and know that you are working at it.
My guess would be that, bring this in front of the Board of Selectmen. They're going to direct the engineering department to take a look at it and do some layouts as to what's best, what they think the best location is. My thoughts are kind of, I agree with your Art. I also think it presents a safety hazard for somebody getting out, parallel park on the traffic side, because everyone knows a lot of people cut through there.
Yeah.
And they don't slow down. They see traffic in the center and they veer off to the right and kind of zip through there quickly. But I guess you'd call it the northernmost space on this picture out in front of Liberty Bell, you do have some hash marking there already.
Mhm.
If you could incorporate that, the adjacent space next to it, and at least get a van accessible space that has a clear access aisle on both sides, you could probably pick up 2 accessible spaces. One would have an access aisle on both sides, and one would have it only on one side.
Right.
I think that would be safety-wise probably better. But I think we can make any recommendations to the Board of Selectmen. They're probably going to kick it down to engineering to kind of really do a study on it and come up with some plans
Yeah.
to bring back and have them either certify and then make it happen. But
So how do we get that in front of the Board of Selectmen?
I can bring that, I think it would help if we both did it, myself as the ADA coordinator and as the commission. When you do have a quorum, bring it up, make it a vote, make it official. And then we
Okay.
can, a vote of the commission on this date. And I can do the same thing as the ADA coordinator and, go to the meeting and get it on the agenda and at least get them to talk about it.
Okay.
And then the last thing I had, so I will move forward with that, and then hopefully next month you have an agenda, a quorum, and we can
Right.
just put dates in for next month as an official vote.
Mhm.
The next item was the pedestrian crossing button at Treble Cove and Boston Road.
Right.
So I did take a look at that. It is kind of an awkward, that whole corner is kind of awkward.
Yeah.
But the physical button itself meets the front reach and side reach requirements. It's within the height, and so you could push it as a front reach, you could push it as a side reach. But it is kind of, I don't know why they orientated it the way they did, unless it's just the way the pole was cast and they needed the lights to go in one direction, and that's where the button ended up.
Yeah. I don't know how those things are built. I would have thought that they could just take and rotate the pole 90 degrees or something. And
Usually there's a flange on the top for the lights. It's
yeah.
kind of, you can even go one direction or the other, but you don't have the option to rotate them 360 degrees.
Yeah.
And somebody probably just missed the button location when they were speccing it, and it ends up, it's kind of pointed back towards the wall.
Right.
But it does meet the front and side reach approach things.
So, okay. So I'd say we can say that it is compliant technically. So,
Right.
Mhm.
So then the other items I could comment on, lifting sidewalk at Precision Tune in the Holly Shop. As everyone may or may not be aware, the town has a purchase and sales agreement on the old Max 2s. That's going to be the new location for the new North Billerica Fire Station.
okay.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I thought it was the mobile station that they had the purchase and sale agreement on.
They had a handshake agreement. The problem became because it was owned by ExxonMobil at one point, they put all kinds of deed restrictions on it. From owning mineral rights in perpetuity to, potential contamination that's found. They still retain a lot of rights to the property. And then one of the other ones is that because it was a gas station, it cannot be used as a residential use. And then we got into technically the firefighters are living there. They have kitchens, they're sleeping there. So there was kind of a back and forth on that, on whether we really wanted to pursue it. Max 2s became available. We negotiated back and forth, and fortunately, they were. Mr. Ming was really reasonable. Came down on his price, and also he's going to demo the structure out there because a private individual can do it cheaper than the town. So that should be happening shortly. The fire station's in design development right now. I would imagine it would probably go out to bid end of summer, if all the construction plans get together. And then at that point, I'm sure they're gonna be looking at some other improvements along Boston Road there. How you make that intersection safer and better. The nice thing is the fire trucks won't have to back in. They'll be able to pull in, drive around the building and have a drive-through garage, which will make it safer. That's the lack of sidewalks out there, whether they'll be addressed at that time or not, I don't know. I know they will be in front of the fire station. And we gotta kind of look at where's the contiguous sidewalk. There is not one, excuse me, in front of Panera.
No.
Right.
So you might, if it goes in front of the new fire station, you might have to go up to the intersection of Treble Cove and then cross the street twice over Boston Road, over Treble Cove to get on the sidewalk that's in front of the daycare there.
Right.
But there'll be opportunity for input on that when those projects move forward and get to kind of a public hearing process.
Yeah, we never figure out why Panera's complex was able to go in without putting a sidewalk. But
I could tell you that personal opinion, I think it was a mistake of the planning board at the time. But at the time that went in, they also had where you could contribute to a sidewalk fund in lieu of doing the work, which was eventually disbanded. They don't allow that anymore, put the sidewalk in front of your business. Because they made a contribution and, is the town ever gonna do a sidewalk there? And then the developer ended up grading the property in such a way that to put a sidewalk in now, you have to put in a retaining wall.
right.
Which escalates the cost for the town. It's always cheaper for the developer to do it than the town.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I know most of the projects going forward, and the planning board's been pretty consistent as of late of requiring these bigger commercial projects to do sidewalks. They just approved a contractor's yard on Treble Cove in the middle of Gilson Hill, if anybody knows that property.
No.
It was somewhat, I think a lot of people were shocked that there was it's almost across from the preschool, I forget the name of the school that's right there on Bcod Way.
Oh,
It's
is
almost
that
directly
the
across
learning
from-
experience, that one? Right,
Yeah.
right by the highway entrance?
It's almost directly across the street. It's like a 2.5 acre parcel. Most people never knew it was there until a for sale sign went up and always assumed it
Yeah.
was the Gilson Hill, but a landscape contractor bought that. They're gonna do a fairly nice building there and run their business out of it, but as part of the site plan special permit process, they're installing a sidewalk from Republic Road up to PHR, the entrance, to get you, a start from a sidewalk, and eventually from Republic all the way down to Nashua, well, at least have one sidewalk on either side so you could, traverse that distance. But the last couple projects that have come in, Lantheus went in front of the planning board, I believe 2 years ago. They required them to do an extensive sidewalk. The next project, which was a GMP facility next to Lantheus, they also required them with the approval to continue the sidewalk up towards the jail. And then this project that they just approved is going to do the sidewalks on the other side. So hopefully it'll be contiguous
Sounds good.
in the near future.
Are those the people that are doing the blasting along Route 3?
That's the town. That's for the new DPW facility.
What are they going to do? Put that in the Cloverleaf area or something?
No, if you know where the water treatment plant is.
Yeah.
So down there, it was, if you go down that road to the water treatment plant, there's a tunnel that goes under Route 3.
Right.
People aren't aware of it. When you get on the other side of the tunnel, to the left used to be the House of Corrections sewage treatment plant. They abandoned that, gave that to the town years ago with the recreation restriction. That was eventually removed at the state level for the town to build a DPW facility there, but it basically straddles the highway. There's a lot of ledge. They've been blasting every Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
To try and get the lot level to put the building on.
Okay. I've just noticed the signs as I'm running down up and down Route 3, and it's like, I've never had
Yeah.
to stop there, but I've always been prepared to stop.
It's usually like 9 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday and Thursday. So if you can avoid the area, and they really they stopped. It's amazing that state police stop the traffic, but they stop it for approximately 5 minutes. I was down there this morning when they were doing some blasting, and it's funny. They give the 5-minute warning horn. The state police stop the traffic, and then within 15 seconds, you start hearing all the horns on Route 3 of people like, well, why is traffic stopped? Then they set it off and open traffic back up.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty impressive operation.
Yeah, I can believe that. Just like I said, I've always seen the signs, but I never see any signs of where the work is going on. So
Yeah, the ones that crack me up are the ones that say shut off your cell phone.
yeah.
Like, really, if I use my phone, am I accidentally going to set this off? Because that's not very safe.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
That's Boston Road. I know there's questions. St. Anne's sidewalk around the corner and pedestrian concerns at Boston Road intersection with new fire department.
Well, as a member of St. Anne's, we have tried to put stuff to have people slow down. I think they did put a sign there for people to slow down. And
Yep.
it seemed to work a little bit. Not the greatest, but,
Yeah, so I mean, most new sidewalks are either going to be in conjunction with a new development,
yeah.
or they're on the town's kind of master plan. I know engineering has spent some time kind of laying out the order of who's next, where they're going, which is available on their website.
Right.
But I think that covers the stuff with me.
Right.
Unless anybody has any other questions,
No, that's
I'm going to plan in the future to attend all of these
Yeah. I do
hearings.
appreciate it because that does help clear up. It helps us close out a bunch of issues, I would hope.
Yeah, and then, moving forward, if the commission, I did follow the new Facebook page. Hopefully that'll get out to people. And if, the commission's contacted for accessibility stuff or needs or whatever it may be, certainly, also use me as a resource, as the ADA coordinator now. I guess I have a title that I can kind of throw around with stuff, but.
Right.
Yeah, I think you kind of missed that when Mark said that earlier. So you kind of picked up on that now.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if you weren't aware that I thought we discussed it, but Clancy just recently appointed me as the town's ADA coordinator.
Right. I know we were supposed to have one, and I thought you were it all along, but
Yeah,
I don't know if it was
apparently he
ever
just,
made
well, he
official.
just made it official and I had to go raise my right hand, but I think it's a good thing. a little more
Yeah.
work for me, but I think,
Definitely.
can be a definite benefit to the town.
Right.
And to us, definitely
Yes.
to us. So thank you.
Yes.
Yeah,
being-
and again, you can certainly push people my way, if they need some type of accommodation, they're not getting somewhere with something, I'm always available to, help out somebody in need.
Okay. So, let's see. So, I actually ended up leaving it out in the car, but I did still get money for a report on money, and when I was checking the mailbox, I got a bunch of reports of traffic tickets getting paid off. So
Oh, good.
I think it's enough that we justified our $1,000 expense on the details.
Good, good. Do you have a number, or do we want to wait for an official meeting for that?
I think we wait for an official meeting.
Okay.
Because, like I say, I left all it's all sitting out in my van outside. It's cold out there.
Oh, no, okay. Well, let it stay there then.
So let's see. I did get a response on the focus group item 3. Just kind of running through here to see if there's anything here that we need. And I got a couple of questions about it from the lady who was doing it. She hopes to come in on the 20th for the February meeting. And they said a focus group can be for staff members, commission members, or community members. If HIPAA is an issue with recruiting town residents, any employees or commission members would be an amazing focus group. Generally, we like to have 6 to 9 people. And if you can only recruit less than 6, that's okay too. Once we have a date, we can send material over for recruiting. The group can be either in person or virtual, whichever is easiest. And if the 20th works, let us know, and you can book it on the calendar. And I also got a message from Bethany Slack, who said that she would be very interested in participating in the focus group. She is with the community. I'll get exactly what her title is, but she's basically with the public health department.
Yeah, I think community outreach is,
Community outreach.
a position.
And I think she'd be very good just because of being in that position. She probably has a better idea of what the community needs than I do.
Art, who was it that you were talking about who might join our February meeting?
Okay. There seems to be a bunch of confusion where Jacqueline Hubbard was wanting to join the commission, and she sent me a message that when she tried to apply, she got a message from Dawn saying that there weren't any openings. And apparently, and so I sent off emails to Donna and the town clerk and to Dawn saying, well, I understand that Donna has resigned and what happened. And apparently, Dawn had never gotten the word that Donna had resigned, so she didn't think there were any openings. Now she says that the latest thing I have is that there's apparently another person who was also put in, who applied on December 2nd. The policy of the select board is when there are more applicants than there are open spots, they bring both applicants in for interviews at a board
Correct.
meeting, and she will reach out to this person and see if he is still interested, and she'll send out a request for both ends, and she plans on having this on the February 3rd agenda. that message went to Jacqueline and to the town clerk, as well as to Donna.
Okay.
So we will hopefully have a new member by the next meeting.
Right.
And that won't change our quorum requirement because it was still, 50% plus 1 is 4 either way. So, okay, so we have open mic, so we have that one. Is the Zoom account situation kind of resolved, Jason?
I think so. I guess the only concern I would have is if there's a meeting I'm not able to attend, but I think we can work it out. Because what seemed to be happening is when I first logged in, it did the same thing. Like it sent some request for a code into the ether, right? And Robert never gets that. He doesn't know where that goes. But then there was a second option to I think send him a message on his cell phone and he gets that.
Okay.
But then tonight I didn't have to do any of that. I logged in and I was able to open up the meeting and I didn't have to do any of that. So I don't know if that was just like the first time through.
Yeah.
So I think for the moment it's fine. And then if there's a meeting I can't make, we'll have to just sort of go through that again.
Okay. Let's see, the scholarship donation thing. So we can't do any voting on that, but per Lauren, previously we had 2 questions that we were asking and
I
impact.
have an update, Art, if you want.
Okay.
So I just got an email from Darlene earlier. I had asked her a while back, but I didn't hear anything. So I asked her again today. She responded essentially to hold. And the reason was, and I can kind of just share this. We don't have a chat here, do we? No, I don't see one. No. Anyway, so they did discuss the criteria in December. And the Disability Commission can write our own criteria of what we'd like the scholarship to be used for. But she comments that colleges now giving 2 years free. I don't know which colleges those are. I don't know if you're aware of that.
I hadn't heard about that.
Yeah, I hadn't either.
It's the UMass. I think
Okay.
it's UMass and yes, and then the community college now, if you're over a certain age, it's going to be free.
Okay.
So all the
So that's
20
nothing.
Mm.
But what Darlene said was hold off another meeting or two to make a final decision as the scholarship committee is waiting for information from Dollars for Scholars on these changes that she mentions. I will forward you this email so you have what it actually says, but
Okay.
that's the gist of it.
Okay. So wait for some meetings. So I'll just kind of keep it on the. So I'll keep
Yes.
that on the table for right now. Okay. Andrew, I'm assuming you said you already updated on the bus situation stuff.
On the COA bus, correct.
Yeah. Okay. So that's handled. Cold Roush Park, we've talked about. Parking, we've talked about. Gazebo, we talked about. Kenny Meadows, we've talked about. Plaza and Town Center Business, we've talked about. Construction, I guess, I don't know, is that one addressed or not? I'm just kind of going through the agenda real quick. Was there any discussion about the Boston Road construction progress?
No.
We did not talk about that yet. No.
Mark,
No.
do you have any?
No real updates. I didn't look into anything. I know the northbound, southbound side is just about complete. They shifted the traffic lanes and they're gonna start, sidewalks, lighting on the northbound side. But it's still kind of a work in progress. I think you'd be able to traverse the sidewalks on the southbound side, but I don't think, crossings or anything like that are compliant at this point.
Okay.
They put the tactile strips, at the crossings in the concrete, they did, it's kind of a pet peeve I'm having is, even here at Town Hall where they put some crosswalks in and they're still covered with plastic. Like, can you at least take the plastic off?
Yeah. I have very mixed feelings about those tactile strips because it's like they're very good for the visually impaired folks that need them from that standpoint, but they're a rough ride for a wheelchair.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't terribly mind them, but they are a nuisance from that standpoint. And I've also seen an awful lot of crossings where that tactile strip gets broken up and kind of makes potholes.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
They do definitely provide a warning.
yeah. So but basically, the project continues there. So
But my understanding is spring of 26, the project should be complete. So roughly another year.
Yeah,
Okay.
it seems so far away.
I know.
Okay, let's see. Question 13, we can close that one out. Well, I'll have to wait. I'll have to leave it on the agenda until we actually have a quorum. I think we've talked a little bit about other issues. The commission thing was for Lauren job, so that's going to work out. We have the possible table at Yankee Doodle. Any further thoughts?
I think we could push this off a little bit. I mean, that's what, September we do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay.
they start early. They will
Do
start.
you know when?
I can find that out for you. I know they will be starting pretty soon though with that. As soon as I find
okay.
out, I'll ask. Yeah. I guess they were talking about the second floor or
Right.
maybe the BATV. I don't know. I really don't know where we could have a table like that. I mean,
To me,
do we want a table or do we have to be there when they have the space? I mean, I really don't know. Do we have to be present for that? I would assume so. And how do we let people know that there's a safe space?
My vote is for having, a truck with a trailer or something where we have a banner or something that just tells people that we exist and something to look for. I just think it's more visible anyway.
Yeah, we do have the banner. We have the
right,
banner.
but we need the rest of it, right? And also just,
I'm just saying,
I need people to.
That's what I'm saying. Right, exactly. We got to tell them we exist and where. Like I said, if we have that safe space, are we supposed to be present at that safe space?
Well, yeah.
And how do we get the word out? Unless that goes on our Facebook page. I don't know. That's something we have to think about. It's a good idea. I'm all for it. I'm just trying to figure out how do we go about it.
Well, I see two separate things here that we kind of seem to be combining together, and I think we need to keep them as separate items. One is there's the question of having a safe, quiet room somewheres and where we have that and what the requirements for doing that are. And then the
Mhm.
question of having a table in the general area where they have all of the other vendors and town commissions and so forth. I know it used to be in the, like, around, kind of around town hall and between it and the fire station. And I don't know where they would be having it nowadays. But whether we want to have a table there, and if so, what do we have to put on it, and who do we get to man that table?
Right.
And I think those are
My
two
personal
separate
opinion-
things.
My personal opinion is to put it together, make it one thing. Have the quiet space. And then maybe that, I don't know.
Can I
don't
ask
know.
what the quiet space is, or what it's intended to do, or?
People with non-visual disabilities, maybe the autistic people or the ADHD people, sometimes it's overwhelming for them, and they just need a little space to sit down and unwind.
Yeah,
So Lauren has suggested maybe a space in the library for that. And the second floor was mentioned because the first floor was they have a book sale all the time. So,
so the reason I ask is, Bernard, you're familiar with it, where the office used to be for the commission and town hall.
Right.
It's just been currently remodeled to kind of, I guess it would meet the requirements for that. As a nursing station, for an employee or somebody that needs to breastfeed. It can be utilized as kind of a prayer room if there's somebody that, Now, the only thing I don't know if it's currently just for employees only, or it's a public space that can be utilized. But
right.
that might be something, it literally just completed like a week ago. The room was completely remodeled. They put, nice seating in there, sink, redid it all, repainted it.
Oh,
Yeah.
That
I
might
saw it
be
while they were
that would be
working on it.
wonderful.
serve both needs, as a multi-purpose space, and I'll certainly bring it up tomorrow with the Human Resources Department, who's kind of guiding this thing.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would
That
be
would be nice. That would be a good spot, maybe.
and I'm just thinking that the reason I want to keep them separate is, to me, if we have a cool down quiet space, we don't necessarily want to have people trying to talk and hand out literature and discuss things in that space. And also, it's kind of the idea of the space to be kind of out of the way. And if it's out of the way, we're not going to be visible to the public like we would be if we were at a table in the general vending area.
So is
True.
this something that you're thinking would be utilized during, say, like Yankee Doodle, if someone was overwhelmed?
Right.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I get that, which, and I believe town halls are always open during Yankee Doodle.
Mm.
They do it out here in the parking lot, so that might work out. There's a safe space that's accessible too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
As far as publicizing where it is, you need to work with the Yankee Doodle committee and have
Right.
it, the location in their brochure.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you want to put that on the agenda, put my name next to it and I'll follow up on it.
Okay. Thank you.
But just so I'm understanding it, it would be really during Yankee Doodle, and then not utilized again probably until the next Yankee Doodle.
Correct. Yeah.
right. This is
I don't think
this is
that's,
just
I mean,
this is basically just for the Yankee Doodle.
yeah,
Uh,
I think something that can easily be accommodated. It's a perfect spot for it. And although it's right now kind of an employee requirement to have it, employees aren't here during Yankee Doodle and town halls closed. Why not
right.
utilize it?
Mhm.
But I'll look into it and get back to you guys on that end of it. And now you just have your table decision to make.
Yeah,
Next item down is the possible disability meet and greet, which we had tabled. It is now 2025. I don't know if we want to do anything about it or not.
well, maybe now that we have a Facebook page, if we can get some people, some disabled people in town to start liking and following it, maybe then we can maybe set up something. Because at least maybe then we'll have an idea,
Yeah,
you know.
I think so I guess the one thing is, we only have Facebook at the moment, so there's other social platforms out there, but the more people that we can encourage to follow it, and then if we have
Yeah.
some posts that people can interact with, like them or comment on them, that feeds into that whole Facebook algorithm in terms of making it visible to more people. So
Exactly.
we kind of have to generate that. And Art, while you were trying to fix your computer there, I had asked Maria if we had a link to the video from when you were at BATV, because that's something that we could post on there, and give that some visibility too.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, we have a page.
Mhm.
And
Just a suggestion, but have you considered maybe doing something like that at the farmer's market?
wouldn't be a bad
The
thing. I don't know
farmer's
what's involved.
market is very difficult to get around because it's on grass. The majority of the stuff to get around. So it's very difficult for a disabled person to do the farmer's market. I know it is for me.
Yeah, no, I get that, but that's also can also provide a good example to engage in a
Oh,
conversation,
absolutely.
to
I
make
totally
somebody
agree.
realize,
Yeah, that we exist, right.
and
Unless
when
we can get
the Ditson's done over, it will at least have an accessible walking path all the way around it, the perimeter, and whatever amenities they add down there will also be
right.
accessible.
So hopefully, if a space like that becomes available, absolutely. I don't know how you do that either, so I'll look into that
Mhm.
for the farmer's market too. Mhm.
Okay. So,
I would suggest reaching out to Robert in the town manager's office, and he could probably make that happen
Mm.
if that's the path you want to take, and even maybe designate a spot that's the easiest to get to.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So account finances. We can't do any minutes. There was a question about the railing on the inside stairs of the library, and we had heard that it was supposed to be installed soon. I don't know if it's
Yeah,
been done
I
yet.
had a conversation with Bob Solis Facilities. I know he's got it on his work order list, and it should be getting addressed shortly, if it hasn't already been.
Okay. So I'll just in process. Okay. We have the Bill Ricca Health and Safety Fair. I did put in the application for the table, and then there's a question of what do we want to put on it.
Well, Maria, you had a brochure at one point that you were working on.
Yeah. Yep. I'm still working on that. When is the fair?
Let's see if I can find it here. April 25th, which is going to be on April 12th.
Okay.
at the Elks Lodge.
Okay,
And apparently this is the first one that they've been having since COVID.
correct. All right. I have the brochures. That's it. Basically, I don't know what else we're supposed to have. We have to get in touch with them and ask them, what do we need, right?
Well, as I understand it, they basically give us a table and probably some chairs that will be in my way. And then it's up to us what we put on said table.
Okay,
And I'm thinking if we have brochures and possibly reach out to MCOD to see if they have anything that they want to give us as stuff to put on the table. We had
right.
a lot of that stuff that was in the old office, which I felt was really old and outdated, and so I put most of that in the recycle bin because it didn't look like it was still useful.
Right.
So,
So do we just need to refresh some of that stuff?
yeah, possibly just send a message to the MCOB and see if, or MCD. Sorry, MCOD, and see who we want to see if they have anything that they want to send us to put on the table.
Okay. I can send that through the disability email.
Right, if you can do that, great. Let's see.
I think Stephen had pens made one time or something like that. I don't know if we want to go that route.
Yeah, we could, but I don't really feel it's that useful.
Yeah.
I know I'm at the point where I usually pass up most pens because I got so many tchotchkes, that sort, that it's like not worth it anymore.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, let's see. So I can see. Okay. You have sent out a message about that public meeting on vulnerable road users, Andrew.
Yeah. Didn't get a response from anybody in the town, and it's a bit of a strange project. MassDOT used all its GIS things to figure out where there might be a number of places to improve safety, because most of the deaths of cyclists and pedestrians occur within 400 feet of a bus stop. Now, that's not necessarily because they were bus passengers, but the way the development is. So they set up a list, asked municipalities to come up with other suggestions. And this is a multi-phase project. And, in my own personal knowledge, I didn't know of any uh, intersections that were good for the first phase, where they're trying to do some quick safety improvements with a little more than paint and other very quick things to do. But in this second and third phases, there may be some opportunities to do it. So my plan is within the next week to send that around again and get information. I also learned that there's a second grant program that usually the applications go in the summer to help bottlenecks, where they'll fund traffic light timing studies and things of that nature, which also could be useful for the town in certain places.
Yeah, I can think of several where it gets very frustrating getting stopped by multiple lights in a row, particularly Trouble Cove and 3A and 129 and 495. Or sorry, not Trouble Cove and Route 3. They just get, you know, they seem like you get one, and as soon as you get rolling, the next one turns red, and you just have to stop again. And it's like,
No, I often walk to Treble Cove Plaza or the CVS, and that definitely is an area of frustration as a pedestrian.
yeah, I've actually found the uh, light there for the market basket is an annoyance, but it's there's an awful lot of people that are trying to turn there, so it kind of makes sense that it's there. Uh, where I get annoyed is the more Trouble Cove and Route 3, because you've got 3 traffic lights very close together, and the two on the on my side of it seem like they're always running where one turns green just in time for the next one to turn red. And so you're basically getting stopped twice. And also the traffic lights as you're going over on 129 to get onto 495. Just intersections that I hit often and find painful every time.
Well, the 495 and 129, they had plans on doing a joint study between Billerica and Chelmsford, but I heard at the last Northern Middlesex MPO that the boundaries of that were being changed. So whether they'll get all the way down to Brick Kiln Road or not with their study, I'm not sure.
Yeah. It's-
All right, folks, if there's nothing else from me, I'm gonna sign off and head home.
okay. I
All
don't
right,
think
thank
we've got
you very
anything
much.
else. So, okay.
I'll follow up on the items we discussed and get you the email plans for the parks. You can take a look at those.
Okay, it sounds good.
All right. Thank you, Mark.
And,
Yeah.
Get an
Thank
answer
you.
on
Good night.
the safe
Mhm.
room.
Yeah.
All right,
Yep, sounds good.
have a good evening.
Yep, have a good one. Old business, we still have the question that I see. How is our email working, Maria?
So far, so good. Like I said, I keep blocking constantly. But we're getting there, but really nothing has come through
Okay, so is
that we
basically
have
it's
to
under,
worry about.
so you're saying it's under control at this point?
If it's under control, I got it. Every time I get something I don't know, I just block it and boom.
Yeah.
I check it I check it every day, and every day something new pops in, so.
Yeah,
But
I
it's under
wonder
control.
too if it's just a
Under
little bit
control.
vulnerable to spam because we don't really have regular email coming through there.
Yeah.
Because usually you get the
I-
spam detectors that can kind of discern, but where you're not having regular communication come through there, it's probably having a harder time.
The stuff I get was the stuff the previous person who used this email. So it was
Yes.
more personal.
Yes.
It was more of, it was used as a personal use, so it's a lot of personal stuff
Yeah.
that has really nothing to do with anything. It's just like, oh, okay, well, this is, yeah. So it's,
Yeah. Steve seemed to be using the COD office and addresses and stuff as personal stuff as well as business. I know I've got, when I would do the mailbox last week, I was in town hall anyways, and there was a bunch of stuff that was basically addressed to him,
Correct.
and there was like
Mm.
some lawsuits over some company that was going bankrupt, and so it was like messages from lawyers about that. There was a couple of magazine stuff, and I basically gave all of that to the town manager's office
Yes,
and said, forward this to Steve because it's nothing to do with us.
correct.
She said,
And that's what I'm getting.
yeah,
It's a lot of, chili recipes, and I'm like, oh, well, stuff that, is really none of our business to see, but now we see it, and
right,
so that's pretty much what it is.
right. Is our membership list current right now?
You mean on the website?
On the website?
No, because it's so, is Dawn responsible for that? I don't know.
I don't know who's responsible for.
So if she didn't know that Donna had resigned, I don't know who does.
Yeah. I'm figuring that's we can probably worry about that next month after we get whoever's our new person is. So
Yeah.
we weren't going to change it twice.
Yeah, I mean, we could ask to have it updated so that it at least says open spot,
Yeah.
but
How many-
rather than Donna.
Yeah. And have we figured out what we're supposed to do if the town manager's office gets a call for us?
I would
No,
assume they would forward to our email, correct?
Well, it's like we had the old battle around the phone number that they have now put the phone number goes to the town manager's office.
Mm.
And so, okay, somebody calls, they get the town manager's office. What does the town manager's office do?
Mm.
so Robert put that same phone number on the Facebook page too.
Mhm.
So I assume it's the right one to have, and I think they will just let us know if we get any calls. I'm just going to assume that we've not gotten any calls for this
Okay.
purpose.
Yeah. Because the question is, who does he let know? I guess is the best question way to put it.
Well, I mean, he knows everyone on the commission, sort of knows you're the chairman. So we can double check with him, but that I seem to remember him saying that when we were talking about getting the Facebook page set up.
Mhm.
He's like, if he gets any emails, because his email address is in there at the moment.
Right.
If he gets any emails or any phone calls, they'll just let us know.
Okay. Sounds good. So, and do we have anything else new, which we can't really bring up anything too much, but
No, not that I'm aware of.
okay. So we'll go back up. And so basically we had let me just add Andrew in here. I'm just looking at our attendance. Okay, so looks like that's basically gone through everything as much as we can. So we have our favorite moment, motion to adjourn.
Yeah,
Second.
yeah.
Yeah, second. All in favor, say bye.
Bye.
All right, we'll be in touch.
Okay.
See you in a month.
Yeah, have a